Hello and welcome to Ballot Meridian election coverage on HOMTV. I'm Julie Dunmeyer. Joining us for this candidate interview is Jared S. Wilson, Republican candidate for Meridian Township Trustee. Welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself to our viewers?
Well, I sure would like to. I would like to thank you all for watching today. It's nice to be here again. We got through the primary. Due to the situation I had being only 3 Republicans running, it wasn't too difficult. I do say congratulations to all the other candidates who did get through on the Democrat side that did have a more difficult primary. And I do apologize to those who hadn't gotten through. I know their work was difficult.
All right, well, thank you. Each trustee candidate will be asked a standard list of 10 questions. Let's get started with question number 1. What qualifications do you bring to the position of township trustee?
Well, I bring the new perspective, as I like to call it, perspective of the millennial generation, or at least a small segment of it. There's many different perspectives we could all call it, but I bring one that is looking towards the future. I don't think a lot of 18-year-olds in the millennial generation are going to be running for positions like I am. So I like to think I'm a little more preparing for the future, maybe more so sometimes. Sometimes I guess I worry about it a little too much. But I think we need to prepare for the millennial generation to be growing up, getting careers, and then moving into houses or apartments or whatever we find in the future is better. We need to prepare as a township to accommodate that better and all the other stuff that comes along with a different population.
Okay. Question number 2. What major changes do you believe residents would like to see in the near future?
In the near future, we will need a lot of infrastructural changes. We have the roads, bridges, railways. A lot of those are outdated and, well, maybe not outdated, but they're getting into a state of disrepair where we need to start working to fix those so we have a current being better built and continuing to be ready for the future. As the debate, Donald Trump had said, it would make sense if we had the national debt we have of so many trillion, only if we had a good infrastructure, yet we don't have that. I think through good planning, the citizens can expect that we will start to build better infrastructure.
All right, question number 3. If elected, what steps would you take to address residents' transportation concerns, including Ready Ride services and CATA's proposed bus rapid transit project?
Well, the Ready Ride services, the current board has done quite well from what I remember. I haven't been able to attend all the recent meetings due to scheduling conflicts with a job I had, but I remember they were taking active steps to getting the Ready Ride ready to work better in the future. I haven't heard all the recent steps that they've proposed, but I believe we can continue along that by bringing in more of the community to start discussing it. The problems they've experienced. I personally haven't been on the Ready Ride, so I don't have the first-hand experience on how that works. I have ridden buses, so I think, at least partially speak to the bus rapid transit, in which the problem I can see with that is when I drive a little bit, I see its problem with the buses and the regular cars, or maybe just a little conflict sometimes where people don't like the buses or buses don't easily maneuver within all these smaller cars. So I see we're going to have to, I think, relook at that system. I haven't checked all the most recent stuff, but from what I remember, they were talking about middle lane buses, bus routes only for the buses and emergency vehicles. And I don't really like the middle road part of that. And I think it would be better on the right side. And maybe the buses could share with carpooling.
Okay, question number 4. Meridian Township's branding campaign is in its final stages. Once revealed, how do you plan to champion the new brand?
I have not been able to see the new brand, what they've said, but I did attend one of the branding forums they had months ago. I would need to look into it again. I don't really know how I would champion it without knowing 100% what it is that they're bringing forth. Okay,
question 5. What essential functions of the township would you like to see improved and why?
The essential functions, when we bring it down to the base essentials, I guess we could say, is the police, fire, the duties that the township offices do. And I think in a lot of those, we do quite well at it. One of the functions that the township, I believe we can work also better on, is the infrastructure, which is one of the more essential functions, especially for the emergency vehicles to get around and be able to get there faster. And maybe more systems to help those on the road be able to know there's an emergency vehicle coming close by that they can't yet see, which might be able to help speed up the times.
All right, and question number 6. How does your campaign best reflect Meridian Township's vision statement as written in the board policy manual, which states to achieve and maintain the highest quality of life for our residents?
I guess my main campaign statement is we're bringing the new perspective, the fresh perspective, is the fact that millennials, we tend to, or at least what I've seen, is they like to live life, at least when they go away to college and they're getting out. They like to experience the parts of life. And I think to provide what we need for millennials, we're going to not only be providing for millennials, but everyone altogether.
All right, and question number 7. The township, much like other municipalities across the state, is facing huge pension liabilities. What direction would you like to see the board take on pension funding if elected?
Well, on pension funding, I see there's only one way we should continue, which is to fulfill our promises to those who have a pension right now and those who are earning one. I do apologize on that. Pensions are a promise of security to those who've worked for us and so diligently helped us be able to provide the community we need and we want. We need to fulfill those promises, taking usually whatever steps is needed. That might mean lowering funding on some other projects that we would like to see. One project that I know can get funded maybe more than some people think might be all the parks we have. We might need to lower that to help fund the pensions, and then we also we can raise it back after we have the pensions dealt with, or we can just start taking overall smaller from everywhere else to fund this, because I think this is a looming problem we have. We don't want to be the area that can't help the people we've said with our promises of a pension. I don't really know the entire way we're going to do all this to solve it, but we need to involve the community more so. And then we have a second part, which is how do we prepare to never get in this problem again with pensions going so high? And that might mean contracts. I don't really know how they're negotiated or how any of that really works. I'm still just 18 learning all this system as I go along. But we do need to prepare better for how all this works and start saving money early. That's the only way I see it can go on.
All right, question number 8. How do you plan to strengthen relationships between the township and the business districts to promote growth?
Well, to promote growth, when I did go to a lot more of the meetings, or when I was able to, and I plan to be going back again, I did see whenever a new business was wanting to come in, there would always be so much scrutiny that was already met with by the Planning Commission and all the other commissions we have. I think we need to start working to better communicate with all the people we have already asking questions. And sometimes I believe we need to just be a little bit more lenient and help those businesses come in, as we do have a problem with a lot of empty areas. I guess we call it blight in our township.
All right, question number 9. What approach do you propose to address issues such as blight with underdeveloped and/or vacant properties within the township?
Well, I think our township, we've got such a good landmass area, I guess we could call it, where we've got East Lansing with MSU and then the Capitol right down the road. So we are a place where people are wanting to come. Now we need to find out what kind of businesses want to come here and meet with us all and be part of our community. And we need to work with them more to try and find ways we can get them in the community while also getting what they need and what we need solved, because the businesses are going to help us a lot as we go forth to correct all the blight that we have.
All right, and the last of our standard list of questions, question number 10. What goals would you like to see the township accomplish in the next 5 years?
Well, the next 5 years, I would like to see definite improvement towards getting the pension liabilities taken care of. I would also like to see that we are fixing our roads and our infrastructure a little better. It would be, I think, overall great for us. Just a road down from my house, Park Lake, it feels like a different road driving on it, that they just tore up the old road and put the new one in. My car likes it definitely. So I think that's one of the problems that I would like to see started, a better solution in the next 5 years.
All right. At this time, we finished the standard list of questions with Jared S. Wilson, who is a Republican candidate for Meridian Township Trustee. We have some time remaining, and I have some follow-up questions, if you wouldn't mind.
Accept.
For starters, if there's anything we haven't talked about yet in this interview that you'd like to mention.
None that I can think of at the moment.
All right. Well, you mentioned earlier you're just an 18-year-old kid figuring this out as you go. What do you say to people who are in the township who are concerned about that?
Oh, well, it's a good reason to be concerned, and I think we're all kind of figuring this out as we go along a little bit. I don't want to be totally unprepared, and I have taken some classes to be able to understand the logistics of how all of it works. I find the problems are going to come probably along more actually getting there and having a new time adjusting. When elected, I find I usually am a quick study and learner on how to start acting appropriately.
Yeah, because one of your things that you've mentioned is a fresh perspective, a millennial perspective. Aside from the young view on the township, what else do you provide to this position if elected?
Well, the young view does help with, I've grown up in the township, so I have seen, I guess I could say, the best and some worst parts of it. I've been here for, I think it's 15, almost 16 years now, quite a long time. So I've seen parts of it that some of the people just driving through don't see. And I do think we need some of their perspectives to help us as we continue, because we're going to need a tourism also to come in and help us out, because we are next to MSU in the capital.
And aside from roads, what in the township would you like to see improved infrastructure-wise?
Well, I do have a fascination. I like the trains. I want to go ride a train as far as I can just for fun and then come back. So trains would definitely be one that I think would be fun. But realistically, probably the mass transit would be one with the all the CATA, what they've done with the bus rapid transit might be something that I think it could be a good solution. We just need to find the right solution that works within our community.
And how familiar are you with the township's current master plan, and how would you plan to further that plan in terms of the locations on Carriage Hills and then Hazlitt Village Square and downtown Okemos to kind of revitalize those areas?
Well, I can't say I'm too familiar with the current master plan. Last I remember that they were working on a newer master plan, but I think we need to tailor the master plan to involve a little bit of flexibility, seeing as what I remember hearing at some of the meetings, there was, well, this doesn't fit in the master plan, and we're going to stick to that. We do sometimes need flexibility to allow the changing times to work better.
And you mentioned the process for new businesses to come to the township, going through the Zoning Board of Appeals to the Planning Commission and then to the board. You said you wanted to make that process a little bit more seamless for businesses. What do you think the township board can do to ensure that would happen if you were elected to this position?
Well, we need to have the board members on there, and I believe they are also on the commissions, but they need to be meeting and actually discussing stuff. I remember a few weeks ago, I do apologize about that. Months ago when I had last been able to attend, they were bringing up issues on trees for, I think it was a church with a parking lot, a proposed building of a church. They were talking about trees in the parking lot where I believe it was 3 that might be actually affected where the parking lot would hypothetically be. And that was already discussed at the planning board. I think it was the planning board or the other commissions, which I don't see why they would bring it back up when they should be already reading what was stated at those and hopefully going to those meetings.
Why at 18 do you want to be elected to the township board? That's kind of an uncommon thing, for an 18-year-old to run for this kind of position.
Well, it is quite uncommon. It's not something you see often. I know there's been cases where there's 18-year-olds actually elected to a little bit higher sometimes that they can actually do. I think I heard it was a small town city that had a mayor of an 18-year-old. I was asked by someone to actually run one of the, I cannot remember at the time who it is, but I was asked to run, and then I consulted with some people nearby who they said, well, I think you'd make a good choice. I'd at least vote for you. And I decided to go with their advice and say, I'll run. Why not? There's nothing to lose, at least. Well, besides the position. But it's something new experience, and I crave the infinite diversity through infinite combinations, as said in Star Trek and a few times. This is something that normally isn't done by someone in my position, and I like to be able to just have a different experience.
Because I have never heard of anyone running for in Meridian Township specifically. So I guess then we've addressed concerns that people might have with you being 18. What qualifications do you have? Were you in high school involved in government, or how have you been involved in local politics aside from this campaign?
Well, in high school, I wasn't always the person who got along with everybody a little bit. I was the quirky kid, I guess you could call it. And I do apologize. I never got elected to the student government. I remember at one point, I think it was 8th grade almost, I said I would be the home monitor, start to enforce the rules and start rules that would actually make stuff efficient. That didn't go over quite well to be self-appointed, but it was quite fun, and it taught me a little bit of how to start working with people. When I actually got into high school, I joined along with the political group there, the Junior States of America. I didn't really serve on too many of the leadership roles as the people who were the leadership. They were 1 year ahead of me, and they continued till senior year. And by the year I was out, I was already gone away at the early college at Lansing Community College, where I've been studying political science a little bit. I've also joined a few other groups, and I just like to kind of, I guess, work with people a lot. It's something that's been natural. I've been told I should be a lawyer, but I guess I want to do this first.
So do you see a future in Meridian Township? Is this a place that you would like to settle down for years to come?
Well, I do like Meridian Township. I personally like the rural side to live in, I guess. I would probably settle in the most eastern third of the township. But it would be a place I would like to settle down, a place where we have a community aspect, is through the like the Celebrate Meridian. And next year, Meridian Township is celebrating 175, I believe it is. I like all that aspects we have, where we're coming together as a community and just enjoying ourselves a little bit more in this time we have here.
And how are you involved in the community currently?
Well, I've been a little bit taken back due to the job I had. I would work late nights and not really able to attend a lot of the stuff I enjoy doing. But since they laid me off from that job, I guess you could call it, is the most accurate way to say it. I've been able to, I go walking a little bit more. I've been playing that Pokemon Go, I guess you could say. I just was able to get that app. So I was walking down the neighborhood, and then I just met more people I didn't know. And it's one of the things I like doing, just meeting new people, going anywhere where I can. Sometimes I just go to the Myers and just talk to people. It's, I guess, a weird thing sometimes for people to see.
All right. Well, we have a few minutes remaining if you'd like to make a closing statement.
Well, I want to say thank you all for all this opportunity that I've been able to get. It's something, as been said, it's something that not many 18-year-olds do, and I enjoy at least being able to do this part. But I do hope to be able to serve you guys better and listen to you as you want on the board. And I thank you all very much. You have a good evening.
Well, thank you very much for being with us. This has been a candidate interview with Jared S. Wilson, Republican candidate for Meridian Township Trustee. I'm Julie Dunmeyer, inviting you to watch Ballot Meridian election coverage right here on HOMTV.